Hey, what's happening, everybody? 2/28, 2017, last day of February 2017, 5:19 p.m. Let's talk about this Bill Holter article that I'm staring at right now. And I guess he mentioned that China and the Vatican have been talking. And China and the Vatican are the biggest gold holders in the world. That's probably correct. And then he goes on to say that the Vatican wants to advance Catholicism into China. And that's what they're discussing. Yeah, that could be the case. But there's certainly a lot more that they're discussing other than that. And that's probably just a cover story for what is actually going on. Plus he goes on further to talk about the coming reset among nations and peoples. Okay, yeah, but that's a global issue. And what I want to talk to you guys about and add is that, first of all, China and the Vatican are the largest gold holders in the world. I probably will agree with that. Vatican controls the Western world. China probably controls the Eastern world, or those are the two dominant factors. And what they are talking about is they're talking about the threat of Bitcoin to the gold market. That is why they're meeting, and that's why they're meeting at this time. I, in the past, was a big supporter of China and Russia. Big supporter of China and Russia. I'm not so hot on China anymore, and I have not been for quite a few years, because they have become Illuminati-ish. They have become hypnotized by money and their newfound wealth. And that has become their god. And I'm actually, a couple weeks ago, I was backed up by Simon Parkes. He said that all of his sources are telling him that China at the negotiation table is dealing with the bad guys and they're dealing with the good guys. And they are looking to cut the best deal possible with either group or faction. That's exactly what he said about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. So all the things that I've been talking about how I've changed my mind about China, pretty much solidified by him. And he's actually a newer guy that I was introduced to. In fact, Jay Essex is the one that introduced me to him, or he mentioned him in a crank-up that he did. And I said, well, who is this Simon Parkes? Didn't even know him, so I started listening to him. I think he's a stand-up guy. I think he's got guts. I think he's got good heart energy. And now I understand why Jay gave him a crank-up for free. Because I think Simon Parkes is a really good guy. And he verified exactly what I was saying. So this has been the game. This has been the game. Vatican, London banks, shorting gold, selling gold on the open market for reduced price to protect the dollar and protect the euro and protect all their other currencies. Okay? China, while playing the game, is buying gold at these lowered prices and allowing the scam to continue. The Vatican is winning by keeping up their paper currencies, and China is winning by obtaining gold at a discount price. China don't give a fuck about their people. China don't give a fuck about the world. The Chinese leadership don't give a fuck about nobody. They care about themselves and their greedy little paws. That's all they care about. And let me tell you, motherfuckers, and let me tell you all also motherfucker Vaticans, you guys got some hurt team coming your way. If you think that you motherfucking son of bitches are going to be able to conglomerate wealth and keep it away from the people and equal distribution, and not necessarily wealth, but resources. If you think that trend is going to continue, hey, fuck both of you, because it ain't. I'll tell you right now. And your little meeting basically is concurring with the idea that I'm putting forward. They are meeting because, like I said in a video a couple months ago, I said when Bitcoin surpasses the price of gold, all hell is going to break loose. And that is what they're doing. If you look back, Zero Hedge had a fantastic article a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about, or they graphed, every time Bitcoin breaks out to a new high or close to the price of gold, it gets slammed. Okay? Mysteriously, it gets slammed. Look at it yesterday. I hit $1,210. Magically got slammed. It was only about $40 away from the price of gold. Magically got slammed. This has happened about 4 or 5 times over the whole history of Bitcoin. What is happening is the cabal, the Vatican, the evildoers, the Illuminati, the Anunnaki, okay? They rob Bitcoin. Silk Road, that company that the FBI, I believe, raided and stole all their Bitcoins. Okay. Mt. Gox, the person who was running Mt. Gox that got threatened and everybody's Bitcoins got stolen. Okay, where do you think they ended up? CIA, they ended up back in the Vatican's pockets, or they ended up in the bankers' pockets as well. What they're doing with these stolen Bitcoins is they're able to sell them in the open market and drive down the price of Bitcoin. Okay, that's keeping it off of the price of gold. Now everybody knows with the price of gold, they're slamming that also. But this is why China and the Vatican are meeting. The Vatican, China, the power elite, the Illuminati, whomever, I don't care how much money you have, you can't forge a Bitcoin. You can't just print off a press and have instantly more Bitcoin. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. And what they're meeting about is that the Vatican is telling the Chinese, hey, we're getting low on these Bitcoin. We can't steal anymore. We can't break down exchanges because they've fortified their exteriors. We can't go in and steal them off of companies that we raid off of their servers because people are getting a lot smarter in the way they hold and store their Bitcoins. Okay. So that is what they are talking about. That is the main topic. I said a while ago, I said, look, the Chinese are scared of Bitcoin also. Go back in the history, the past history of the videos on this channel and look at what I've talked about. I've outlined all of this. China has tried to slam Bitcoin by trying to add more regulations, which they have on their Bitcoin exchanges, and has driven down the price of Bitcoin. Why? Because they want to keep it off of the price of gold, because they're getting gold for 10 cents on the dollar, maybe 5 cents on the dollar, okay? Which is a good deal. But you have to sacrifice the rest of the world because you're trying to obtain a bunch of gold and replenish your pockets, add to your wealth when you're already a billionaire. See, that's what I get really frustrated over, and I get sick and tired of these motherfuckers that only look at their own pocket, their own bank statement, and their own perspective on a planet where resources could be distributed to help the poor and to help the needy and to help people that don't really have the voice to fight. So that's where I get a little bit pissed off at both these factions, and that's why I cuss at them, that's why I curse at them, that's why I don't give a fuck about them. And I can't wait for them to be marginalized and reduced in power and reduced in influence, because they're just plain wrong. They're plain wrong, both of them. So that's what they're talking about, because once Bitcoin eclipses the price of gold, their game on both ends is over. It is over. Because once like I said before in the past videos that I made, go back and look at my videos on my channel. I've talked about all this extensively. When Bitcoin surpasses the price of gold, every mother effer on this planet, all 7 billion people are going to look at the market and say, what the F is up with that? And all eyes are going to be on the markets, governments, commodity exchanges of, how does this happen? How does a fictitious instrument end up being worth more than a solid commodity that's been coveted, stored, worshipped, molded into jewelry, items, bathtubs, ornamental pillars, candlestick holders, whatever you got, on and on and on. It's been coveted. It's been ingrained in people's consciousnesses. And I think even that it's used in space all over the place. I think, in fact, now that I'm recalling my memory, some UFOs actually use gold as a, it's used to shield radiation, and it's also used as a propulsion mechanism. And it's used for all kinds of other things. I'm not going to get into that right now. But it is well known throughout the universe that gold is a universal thing. At bare minimum, a vessel for money. As money. It is money. But it's also a resource, though. Instantly recognizable. For thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And now you're going to tell me that a fictitious, imaginary Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is just a series of letters and numbers on a computer server that's backed by an algorithm. That's all it is. That's all it is. There is no physical Bitcoin. How can that be worth more than an ounce of gold? Coin per coin. How? How? It can't. It can't. So when everyone wakes up to that phenomenon, and that the phenomenon is real, they're going to start asking a lot of questions. Therefore, they're going to have to let the price of gold go. Therefore, the Vatican scam is over, and therefore the Chinese leadership scam is over also. And that's what they're talking about right now. And I'm sure that Bill Holter pulled up a lot of good instruments and elements here, and I'm sure that they're talking about things that he is mentioning. He's a good guy. I think Bill Holter's got a good heart, but I think that he's not getting to the big factor and the big story behind all of the rudimentary cover story facts. Okay? For the two largest, or put it this way, for the two largest gold holders to meet and not be talking about gold, do you think that's a little silly? Do you think that Microsoft and Apple Computer would get together and talk, and they wouldn't talk about computers? Think about it for a minute. Think about it for a minute. What do you think they're going to talk about? The flavor of snow cones in Australia? What do you think they're going to do? The taste of papayas that come out of Panama? What are they going to do? What are they going to talk about? Which cruise line is better? You know, New Amsterdam or Carnival Cruises? No, they're going to talk about computers. Right, they're the two biggest computer manufacturers in the world. Right? Or they're very, very, very large computer manufacturers or software manufacturers, however you want to dissect it. But they would be talking about computers, of course. Okay, so the two largest gold holders are going to be talking about gold. And what is the threat to gold now? Bitcoin. And I said that right at the 13-minute mark of this video. How appropriate. Yeah, because Bitcoin is the commodity that broke gold. Bitcoin is going to be the commodity that breaks the metals market wide open. Everybody talks about, you know, the COMEX doesn't have any metal, the LBMA is out of metal, and they can't continue to cover their shorts, and they can't continue to push all of the short contracts on the market. And in 2016, they increased their short position by 41% compared to 2015, and all the market's going to crash in a couple of days. The market silvers are going to go to 150 and 250 and 550, and gold's going to go to 10,000, and you know, on and 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 on about all of these circumstances and criteria that are really non-specific to what really broke the gold market open. And that is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to set the gold market free. Bitcoin. The imaginary algorithmic formula. Don't they say that throughout the universe, the only common language is mathematics? Isn't that what they say? Yeah, well, that's all Bitcoin is, mathematics. It's just an algorithm. Isn't that funny that that would be the language that breaks the gold market and the silver market into its correct posture and positioning? Interesting. What was the Pythagorean theorem? A squared plus B squared equals C squared? Bitcoin plus Bitcoin equals gold and silver freedom. And that's how it is. 5:34 p.m. 2/28/2017, last day of February. See you guys.